Everybody, welcome back to the Shoe and Show. New episodes drop every single Monday. This is a special one, number 500, folks. We've hit 500. Who knew that we would make it past one? But here we are, 500. Here we go. Exactly. You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome.
June 1st, 2016 is when our first one dropped, Andy. I listened to it this morning to, amuse myself and make myself laugh at how we sound and some of the things that we said. But I remember driving to the studio that day when we recorded our first batch of them, and I thought to myself, I have no idea what we're going to talk about for one episode, much less four now, much less 9.5 years later, much less 500. So
what was it about, Matt? What was the
Ron Fromm was on it.
Amen. Yeah.
Christie was on. Andy talked about the biz-naz of the industry, and we talked about all the different shoes we were going to cover, and we went from there. So it was good.
I think it was like a little strange because I remember when we had like pre-production with Blake and Paula, and we were like, "What do we talk about?" And they're like, "Do you do newsletters?" We're like, "Yeah." We're like, "Well, you talk about that. Whatever you put in your newsletter, you just create." So I think it's hard for some people to like. I mean, it was hard for us to like conjure what we were going to kind of focus on and where we fit in. Cause that's the other thing is there's a lot of podcasts out there on footwear, but like, where do you slot in that adds value, where someone listens and gets something out of it. Right. And, I think the other part of it was really like capturing those it's a way to capture conversations that we were having at trade shows with people. Like one-offs we're having just kind of coffee or dinner or just walking around and picking up like really interesting intelligence and tidbits and way of doing business and market trends and being able to translate that into a podcast where, I mean, now I don't know what it is now, but I mean, we definitely have a global audience, like people, I mean, obviously we have like a lot of people in China and Vietnam who are sourcing folks, but equally like we've got brands in Europe, we've got folks in India that listen. Like, so I'm proud of the fact that we've focused really hard on making a fun, engaging podcast. Hopefully it is. But like that if you do listen, you get value, right? Like, and I'm also like, this sounds weird because our job is to talk, but I learn a lot by just having these conversations with folks. Like, so I still 500 episodes in, like enjoy breaking bread with people digitally and like hearing about their stories and their lives and their philosophies. And I think it has made me a better leader in person and a business person going through it.
I would agree. Christy, you started with us in 2016, then you took a hiatus. Now you're back. What's kind of could you imagine 500 like when we set out on this journey so many years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I imagined 500, but I'm happy to be here. And I'm glad that we made it.
We did make it. Now, Blake, you've been at the helm since the start.
Literally.
Like, what are some of like the highlights in your mind about?
I was going to go back up to things you said after you recorded your first batch, which I think you might find interesting. Because Matt, you were all nervous, and now you're like super pro. And remember we had the 311 guy, and I think that was your highlight episode.
That was a highlight episode.
The Peanut,
the bassist from 311. Yep.
Go back and listen to that one. That's a good one.
What you said on our second recording day was, "Hey, we're no longer the guys in ties. This podcast has made us like cool."
That's what I said.
Yeah, one of you did, and you were like, "It's like we were always the lobbyists from DC."
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we are. Now all of a sudden
we're in hoodies. I mean, that's what
we were ahead of our time, right?
It's degraded so much. We now just wear hoodies.
I think the point was like we were in some ways like ancillary to the industry. We were supportive of the industry, but we were outside. And now with the podcast and the other things that we do at FDRA, we are integral to the industry. We're like the most inside and building community from within, whereas we were on the outside and, we would jump in and out where we needed to. And now, and it's a number of things, but it's definitely the podcast, I think, is allowed us to kind of shed some of our inhibitions or whatever you want to call it and like really dig in more to support the industry. And I think, the problem is in this world, everything's Twitter. So it's 150 characters. And this is the one spot where you can have real conversations with people in the industry. And and broadcast it, right? Like it's a
When
it's a
you
huge
want.
opportunity for people to share how they view business.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we were ahead of our time because
Mhm.
there's so many podcasts now, and they're all long form. Like our 20 to 40-minute podcast is actually kind of short compared to what's out there now, like the Rogans of the world that are 3 hours long. But I think you're right, Andy. People are looking for deeper dive conversations. And what I love about the podcast is that it's like my excuse to get really cool people on a program that may not talk to me otherwise. Like, yeah, I'll come talk to you about my amazing career at Nike or Jordan or whatever.
And then invite you backstage to hang out and give me free shoes.
This is true. This is true. So, and that's still available to all of our listeners. If you'd like to hit us up with free shoes, we'll be happy to talk about it.
I'm still surprised that we'll have guests come on that are like CEOs and be like, "Oh, I listen to the show all the time." It's like,
right?
Like,
Good.
You do?
Have you ever had this happen where you're at a conference or something and someone just hears you and goes, "You're the podcast guy"?
Yes. Yes, it's
like,
happened
I've met you before, but I listen to you all the time.
That.
It's like, that's a little scary. Like,
Thomas, what's your favorite episode?
Oh man, I like the one we did with Wilson. I thought that one was really good a few weeks ago. That was very interesting. I mean, just so with that one, he had some really a lot of insight and just some very unique, a lot of depth to the stories behind the shoes, right? Like it was like layer after layer after layer, and tying in, theologian that had inspired him to, that led down the path of creating this iconic shoe. And there's just so many levels to that conversation. And then another one I really liked was going in the office with Congressman Jared Moskowitz of Florida, sitting down, talking about why he created the sneaker caucus. Those two stand out in my mind.
We also, what reminds me, we did one on site at USTR with Froman.
Early on with Ambassador Froman, the Obama administration.
We had to put on ties.
We did.
You wear the guys in ties.
That was like a first few months of the podcast. So I'm surprised he said yes.
Yeah. That was during the TPP days, right? Like
the good old days.
Whatever TPP. You need.
Yeah. The other one that for me that was interesting was that which blew my mind with you guys and shows how much you worked was when you guys went from, I think it was Vegas to Portland on a red eye, dummies. And I had to be there at like 8:30 to set up. And you all rolled in off airplanes from Vegas at 9 a.m. And I think you left at like 3 a.m. or something after taking somebody out to dinner that night. And I was like, goodness, these guys, these members are getting their value.
That's when we did the rotosodes where we taped at FM Platform in Vegas. Then we flew to the Keen factory and we did a Labor Day special, 3 episodes, I think, where we did a audio tour of the factory itself. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it was like I was waking up at 8:30 and I figured you guys, nope, we rolled in on Ubers with luggage.
That's right, man. We are low maintenance. We don't need a green room. We don't need just green M&Ms in our.
It might have been a cab, actually.
Low maintenance, but we had no cash, right? So we were like skimping on like paying for hotel rooms and just
beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. Like we are very frugal. My wife says miserly for my own personal life, but we're very frugal. But what I liked about that episode was walking through the factory and talking to people who were making the shoes on the floor, and it's an opportunity, I think, for them to talk a little bit about their work and what they're doing in a way that people would never hear it otherwise. And, wouldn't have the opportunity to get on a podcast and talk a little bit about what they're doing and how it's done and things like that. So I love the fact that we have an opportunity to highlight kind of superstars that are unseen in the industry by doing this podcast.
Speaking of superstars, I have this list of superstars that some of your fans and fellow showmates have sent in. Want to hear?
Yeah, I've heard a rumor. How many we got, Blake?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10, I think here. So I'm just gonna pick one at random.
Let's watch it and let's see what they have to say. 500 episodes.
Hi, Sandy and Matt. Natalie White from Moolah Kicks here. Congratulations on 500 episodes of Shoe In. It is the best podcast in the industry.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to be on the podcast with you guys. I've listened to Shoe In since it started coming out and really learned a lot about the footwear industry when I was just getting started through your podcast. And what a beautiful full circle moment to be able to be a guest on it a few years later. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the podcast that you guys come out with, and I can't wait for the next 500 episodes.
Bite your tongue, Natalie. That was amazing. She's a rising star. She's already an arrived star with Moolah Kicks, especially with women's basketball and the WNBA, and she's phenomenal. She just was on, so she was in her leadership series actually, which was what we did new this year.
That was cool.
That was cool.
That was very nice.
Yeah, shout out to Sandy because Sandy and I hosted that episode, and so that was really cool.
And see, that's an example of somebody that is already listening to the show, right? Like that has loved the show. You don't expect it, and then she's a guest, and or you don't expect as a guest to say, "Oh yeah, I've been listening to the show since the beginning," or whatever. Like, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Should we fire another one off?
Do it.
Congratulations to the FDRA on 500 episodes of Shoe and Show. I love Shoe and Show because it's always fun. It's interesting. Matt and Andy, you guys do a great job of keeping it light and keeping it right. And we just appreciate everything that the FDRA does for the industry. This is just another example of excellence. Bravo, FDRA.
Light and right. I love it. That's
Light
all. That's our boss. So we gotta be
What's
happy
his
with
name?
that
Jose, right?
Josue Solano.
I picked that up when I was on the first time too. I'm just looking
It's always great to come on because he shares so much on the business side, right? He's so thoughtful on like how to operate. And I think what is also interesting is we got to sit down with Bobby Campbell and capture his life story in footwear. And so if you've not heard that one from the BBC perspective, it's fascinating about how he was literally living on the factory floor in China.
Oh yeah.
As a trailblazer in China before most people, I think most people are still in Korea making shoes, or maybe in the US and
Taiwan,
like dirt roads to these factories. So that's another really interesting shoe kind of life story of someone who has sadly passed on from the industry, but we capture that. It's a canon that we have now for these kind of stories of people's lives in the footwear industry. So
yeah, I like that canon. I mean, the funny thing about the show, we've been doing it for so long, Andy, that I forget who's been on. Like I know Josue, I think, has been on twice. But there are times I'm like, hey, you want to come on Shoe In? I don't think you've ever been on. I'm like, yeah, I was on 3 years ago because there's so many episodes I can't keep track in my head.
It was the same for me because we were at associations, and I'll go to ASAE meeting, which is our association as an association, and people come up with like, I was in the studio with you. It's good to see you again. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Who are you?
I have no idea who you are, but I'm sure we had a great time. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go.
Good afternoon, Shoe and family. This is Mike Pisa from Apex Logistics. I just want to congratulate the Shoe In Show and the FDRA on the Shoe In's 500th career episode. That's an amazing accomplishment. I feel very honored that I've been part of it on a few different occasions, and I hope to do so in the future. And thanks for all the great work that the FDRA does for the footwear community and its partners. Thanks so much.
awesome.
Yeah, I love Mike. They're an example of a company that partnered with us, Andy.
Which company is he with?
He's with Apex Global Logistics about a decade ago or more, and has been with us every step of the way as we've grown. We've grown exponentially since that time. And Mike's been at the helm there for a long time. And he's been a long-standing partner.
Always gives good insight too. It's helpful to have him as a panelist or on the, like you said, he's been on several times. So we'll go back and listen to some of those.
Yeah.
All in the catalog at where?
I don't know. We'll need to pull these references and put them in the description below.
In the show notes.
You can search the website.
Put the Bobby Campbell one in there for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving right along.
Hard to believe we're already at the 500th episode of Shoe and Show. I remember years ago when I was asked to participate in one of the Shoe and Shows, and of course back then I was employed. But to be honest about it, I was a bit nervous. But one of the great things about the team is both Matt and Andy and everyone else tends to always put you at ease and make you feel comfortable and just make the experience overall very, very fun. So certainly appreciate that. And you know, while I really love the mini Shoe and Show episodes, quite frankly, because they always cover a wide range of topics, you know, things that are always, in my opinion, relevant and informative to us as an industry. It also gives us a chance to meet a broad range of executives, some within the industry and some from without. So bottom line is what started out as a simple idea has turned into something that, you know, we as an industry can't wait to listen to. So just a quick congratulations to the team on a great run with Shoe and Show. And can't wait for the next episode. Take care.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Cool hat. Cool hat.
Who is that?
Andy Gilbert, the legend, man.
He is a legend.
And a gentleman at that too.
What's he a legend for? Educate the producer.
Just how to do business in a multi, in terms of how do you operate a brand, how you think about retail, how you think about consumers, like how you treat people correctly, how you build relationships with people. I mean, and it's formatively like why he was so successful at Genesco and everywhere he's been. But
Nike,
even now that he's retired, it's why we brought him in to be the chairman of the Footwear Innovation Foundation, because of those relationships and how he operates.
So well respected. Yeah. And he's from Alabama, like Thomas, so can't go wrong with there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
I will say that he points out something I always don't. It's kind of a blind spot for me, that people are nervous when they come on, because I'm like, this is a stupid little podcast. But no, people who are successful and run companies, and there is an effort. We have to put them at ease, and kind of behind the scenes. Sometimes we like to wing these conversations, to be honest with you. We do very little prep, but every once in a while we have someone who has a PR team or comms team is like, hey, can you send over the questions? Can you help? This is what we want to talk about. This is what we don't want to talk about. So we try to keep it organic 90% of the time, but there are times when we have to be a little bit more structured in our conversation, depending on who our guest is.
I love that he had the FDRA hat on as well. Just a reminder that we've shifted to video as well. So if you're listening to this, you can also go back. And so that was kind of a fun thing, is you see him wearing the FDRA merchandise. And I thought he's a great advocate for FDRA as well.
Yes,
can I get a hat like that somewhere?
Always. Yes. FDRA.org, the merch shop.
Cool. All right. Moving right along.
Let's do it.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Chris Wright from Nike Inc. I want to give a big shout out to Matt and Christie and the entire Shoe-In team, and just say simply congrats. 500 episodes, no small feat. Listen, the one thing I really appreciate about everything you guys are doing with the show is providing a platform for industry professionals like myself to show folks out there who have a passion for sport, have a passion for footwear, have a passion for the things that we do, that these roles exist, and there is an aspirational destination that folks can actually get to, because now we have a platform to share our backgrounds and our journeys. Please keep it up. I love it, and best of luck.
Christie, Chris is an example of someone who I was thinking about. I was like, I'm not cool enough to talk to, but he's willing to come on the podcast. That's always our end, to talk to really cool people. But what do you remember about our conversation with Chris, which was not that long ago, actually?
It wasn't that long ago. That was one of my favorite episodes. I loved that he talked about hustle. He talked about inspiration, putting in the hard work, and then just really living out what he's like, of integrity. Everything that he says, that's what he does. So, yeah.
He grew up in Harlem. Then he hit the Yellow Pages when he was in Atlanta, I think, and like cold called his way into the industry. And fast forward, now he's a major executive over at Nike, and he's a great guy through and through. So it's awesome to have him on.
It's really cool.
Happy 500th episode to Shoe-In, a show that we all watch whenever we have the opportunity. It's always so informative and actually so much fun to watch. FDRA, thank you for all that you do for us every day. The team is unbelievable. And in these crazy times, it's so helpful to have you there navigating it all with us. So here's to 500 more episodes of Shoe-In. All the best.
That's Susan Itzkowitz, so at Mark Fisher Footwear. Everyone keeps wishing us more 500 episodes, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I guess it means we'll be employed, hopefully, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That's good.
I was there. I went there, didn't I? Didn't you drag me up there?
We dragged you everywhere. I'm sure we did.
Yeah, we probably did. But I think, Susan is just such a great business person, and is always on point and always thinking forward. And they have so many brands they have to manage. It's amazing, the work that they do, and how engaged she is and supportive of what we're doing. And it matters a lot that someone like her would take time to send, and Hostway and everybody who are sending these things in. It's very kind of them to do that.
I agree, man. Susan, I love Susan. Susan, I love you. Thank you for your support. She is involved in everything, 210 and just FFCF, and she's for Cure. So she puts her money where her mouth is, and she's been in the industry a long time. And
I feel like she runs on a 25-hour day.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hour, right? Like to do all the work. So
I remember going up there, and this is a slightly changed topic, but you guys had done your first pop-up, I think, at Fanny.
We did at the Hilton in New York. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember that I don't say the brand. There was one or two where we were filming, and we went in, and they were like, "We can't film now. We're too busy taking orders."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Holy mackerel!" FDR did something.
You have to be flexible. You got to like read the room when they don't want you in there. You have to.
We did send out Christie to do a lot of rotosodes where she went around
that
with
was
one-offs.
so fun.
Yeah, and again, that was highlighting some of these emerging brands that didn't have there wasn't a platform for them, right? Like they were obviously at a trade show trying to sell, but no one knows what their story is unless you stop by. So
yeah,
those kind of quick clips really mattered to people and really kind of put some people on the map. And we kind of put Christie on the spot to do this.
We did. I mean, a friendly face. It's hard to say no. Like if you and I were walking around mics, people might run for the hills, but Christie, they were happy to talk to her.
I remember my wife came with us, and Kim, her name is Kim, and she came with us, and she'd never been anything like that. I remember she has a little bit of a shoe problem, and she was walking through the main expo hall, and I said, "So what do you think we should talk about here? What do you think? Look at that, look at that." And she just said, "I'm trying to keep it together." Okay.
There's no such thing as a shoe problem, my friend.
That's true. I forgot who I'm talking to here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, don't ask the addict, okay? Like
exactly.
All right, that was Susan. So now we have.
Hey FDRA, this is Oliver from Inbox. I love tuning into the show to hear everyone's shoe stories, as it's that personal touch many other podcasts are missing. And the whole FDRA team does such a good job of making you feel welcome at every event, even as a newcomer. My favorite memory was getting to be on the show and introduce Inbox to the US market for the first time. And that's what makes FDRA so special, I think. They connect the industry and ask the questions that really matter. Thank you for a great show.
That's awesome.
Oliver.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Who's he
early in the morning?
Who's Oliver with?
Inbox. So they do like a post-market treatment on footwear, and actually are in DSWs now. And I think they just celebrated their 1 millionth treatment in the U.S. market. Oh, wow. And they really started, Andy, at ground zero with us, which is what we do as a platform. We help companies grow if they have a legitimate product and they're not just kind of snake oil salesmen, if you will. And Oliver's not that. Then they come in and they connect with the industry and they provide a service. And he's found success in partnering with us.
Yeah, they don't use snake oil to treat the shoes. That's
he's done some cool exhibits at our events too, right? Like, I mean, I'm thinking about Executive Summit where they've kind of showcased some interesting things they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. They got a good business, and I think it's nice because it's they're European based, and so having that engagement where people in Europe are listening just as much as the U.S., right? So it's I think that's really meaningful to have like a global audience. People are, queuing in and listening in to hear what's happening. So
cool. Shall we move along?
Let's do it.
Give the home stretch.
Shoe and show. It's always a great time. I don't know if I have a specific memory, but I always appreciate Andy and Matt and what they bring to the discussions. A lot of times I'll see a guest and I'll not be quite sure why they're on there, and I'll happen to listen in, and it's always a very interesting conversation. So I love Andy and Matt's ability to bring serious topics to the discussion, but also have fun and make them people that we want to talk to. And I want to thank you guys for helping me and allowing me to get on there and talk about things that I think are important for the footwear industry. You guys bring a wide variety of topics to the discussion that are not always covered elsewhere. So thanks for everything you guys do. It's awesome. Look forward to 500 more shows. Can't guarantee I'll watch them all, but I definitely watch them when I can.
Awesome. Alan's just a good guy. It's Alan Lugo. He had a long stint at Wolverine Worldwide, and then was at Natural Fiber Welding, and now is doing his own kind of consulting stuff around. I mean, he's working with us a lot on the Footwear Innovation Foundation on a competition that we're running around turning ideas into actual applications for the footwear industry. So that was nice to see too. But I mean, to his point, like we do cover things that are not always in the mainstream of industry, but are really important to the industry and having conversations around certain things, and keeping those kind of very important conversations alive, and make sure it's circulating in the industry in the right way to keep the industry kind of strengthening it and keeping it strong in many ways. So yeah, I don't know. We'll cover anything really.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that's what's important about association in general shows is even during COVID, no one's going to cover, I'm just making this up, obviously, the shoelace shortage. Like no one's going to cover that except you guys.
Yeah.
And it's really important to know that. That's, you know? So.
For sure. I mean, there's a number of sneaker podcasts out there that cover the fashion and the
right.
business aspect from a drop perspective and a design perspective, but like the full depth and breadth of the industry is, I don't think there's another one out there. And I will also say it's not just the industry. I mean, Ronnie Wright, who was just on, another former Nike guy, he was just on. He texted me 2 days ago. He was at Virginia Tech speaking to students, and a number of students came up to him and say, "Hey, I saw you. I heard you on Shoe and Show." So that kind of feedback is also super valuable to us because we want to make sure we're not just speaking to the industry, but we're also broadening the horizons of those who want to get into the industry.
That's a good point. I mean, I'll also say, like, I was talking to Mark Bain, who was with Business of Fashion not long ago, and he lists our podcast as one of the things that emerging brands and people trying to break into the industry need to listen to.
That's cool
for business intelligence and understanding how the industry operates, and and obviously we have this catalog of 500 episodes, and there's things people can go back. I still think it's, if you go back 2-3 years, there's still very relevant things because the way we talk about things is not about a business cycle where it's like this sale or that sale. It's really about, entrepreneurship, and it's about leadership, and it's about business and how you make decisions. And I think, and everybody has different perspectives, whether they're, providing a service to the industry or whether they're running the company. And all those perspectives really matter in how you look holistically at your business and the industry and where it fits in. And I think, yeah. So, yeah.
Hi, Matt and Andy. Thanks for creating a space where industry leaders share everything footwear, past, present, and future. You provided an opportunity for the best talent in the industry to discuss consumer behavior, business opportunities, business challenges, tariffs, design and innovation, supply chain, just to name a few. And if it hasn't been discussed yet, you're always open to new topics that the industry cares about. Congratulations on your 500th podcast. I am unofficially nominating you both for the People's Choice Awards. There seems to be some movement in the late night talk show space, so I think there's room for you. You combine fact-based, relevant, and important information with a sense of humor, and we all need a bit more of that these days. Congratulations and job well done.
Oh, that's so sweet. Debbie Foray at DSW. She's just an amazing icon in her industry. Christie, she has been at DSW for a long time, but she just knows the industry. She knows everybody in the industry. So to have someone like her recommending that we do some late night time, that may be a bridge too far, but I don't know. I'll take the compliment. And she, like me, is a Marine Corps brat. So anything from a Marine Corps brat, I take to the bank. I don't know about you.
That's amazing. Yeah. And she really touched on how we do cover everything. I think you guys deserve a People's Choice Awards.
I don't know by which people and whose choice, but I will take it. So sign us up. Sign us up. All right, Blake, who's up next?
Hi, it's Jung Yoon and Michael Kors. I just wanted to pop in and say congratulations to this monumental milestone for Shoe and Show. Wow, 500th episode. That's amazing. I'm such a big fan of the show. Matt, Andy, Thomas, you guys are doing an amazing job asking interesting questions to the interesting guests. And it was my honor to be appearing on the podcast with you guys last year. And keep up the great work. Congratulations.
Wow, Jung is on our board. Debbie's on our board as well. And she is at Michael Kors and has been in the industry a long time. I remember her episode, Christie, because she didn't come from the industry. She came from technology, if I remember correctly, in telecom. And so she moved into the industry and has been at Michael Kors for a long time and is a dear friend of mine and has spoken at our events. And so it's awesome to have her well wishes as well.
That's amazing. I need to go back and listen to her episode.
Yeah. So, awesome.
Cool.
How many more? What do we got?
Last one. You ready for it?
Wait. Should we do the last one?
Oh, you want to hear it? Okay.
I love the Shoe and Show podcast. Just excellent work. Matt, Andy, and the team. I've had the joy of being on the program, and it just is great for our industry. It really brings together all the things that we're doing. And it's exciting to share stories. It's exciting to inspire the next generation in this vital industry that we're a part of. I was kind of thinking about shoes and shows, and I also love the one you did with Ron Wright, Papa Simone. Amazing show. Just great to hear his story and his journey in our incredible sneaker industry. It's that shoes are in need of love today. Oh yeah. Don't delay. Get some shoes right away.
I'm crying.
Caps going round. I'm just playing. Love Shoe and Show. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that is.
Do we have the rights to use that? Is that cleared?
Oh, it's totally cleared.
Do we owe him a royalty?
He's live with us.
This doesn't make any sense. Okay, end.
Oh my gosh,
that was great. Oh, man.
That is Wilson. I mean, for those of you who don't know him personally,
it is him.
He's a dear friend of mine. I've gotten very close with him over the last year or so, 2 years, and that is Wilson to a T. And he's a worship leader. He's musically inclined. His father had a record store in Portland. I mean, he hung out with Marvin Gaye as a kid. So that is the fact that he did that song for us is just so classic. So thank you, Wilson. I really appreciate it.
That's the one I referenced. That was one of my favorite ones of all time. I mean, I would go back and listen to that one. I mean, it's fun, and he tells music stories too about his interaction with Michael Jordan and the shoe. The incredible story about presenting that to him, and then I think he brought a keyboard to that, and had some. I won't give anything away, but that one's certainly worth a listen.
Mm.
And yeah, I think to that point, like the thing is like this show can bring anyone to the table, right? Like if you're in the industry and you have a passion and you have a perspective, then this is your show. Like this is not something that we're running. This is it. Obviously, it is something we're running, but like this is not our show. This is the industry's podcast. So, we think really. Hard and long about when we have guests on and what we want to focus on and how we want to dig into things. And, but I do like the fact that it isn't scripted, to Matt's point, what he said previously, like, yeah, every now and again, but like, I'd hate looking at scripts. I'd rather just have a conversation and see where it goes. And that's why sometimes the episode will, there's a few of them that went like an hour or plus, and we were like, oh, we got to split this in half, right? But you got to keep going. If the content's there and the conversation's there, you keep going with it and feeling your way through it and just, see what you can pull out of people. And the thing is, most people share. They're happy to share,
Yeah, like, lots of great shoe stories, lots of them over there. People who started as kids in factories, not child labor, but like a teenager.
Factory. No snake oil in the footwear industry and no child labor. We promise.
Exactly.
Another association.
So, I mean, there's so many great stories, and you just don't know how people kind of got into the industry. But what I've also liked what we've done this year, and Christie, you've been a big part of this, is we've introduced the video, and Blake, obviously, you've been a big part of that as well. We started knowing that the attention span of the average human is like infinitesimal at this point. We started doing YouTube shorts, and it's interesting, like, you'll see a short of Josue or somebody that gets a lot of people watching it and kind of in the mix. So we're going to be doing more video, more snippets, more kind of engagement. And we also did the special leadership series, which was sponsored by Ortholite. And that was a great series. And you can go to shoeleaders.com or org to find that. And then we have I just taped another one with Wilson we'll be putting out here in a bit. So there's a lot of great opportunity. Even though we've been doing this almost 10 years, it feels like if we're going to get to the next 500 episodes, we got to mix it up. And we've really started to mix it up this year. So Christie and Blake in particular, thanks for helping.
What's so wild about the shorts that I see, it's so crazy, is you can't predict who's going to explode on it. You think like this big guest we have on, they come on, they get 500 views. Then someone I've never heard of, and you're like, who's this again? When we get started, gets 4,000.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
The content is usually it's relatable to any industry, and then it takes off because a lot of people can relate to it, whether you're in the footwear industry or you're a student or you're
that's a great point.
A professional. Yeah. So I love the shorts. They're easy to digest.
Yeah. I mean, the one that we posted is recently with Ron Wright on LinkedIn. He was talking about working with Michael Jordan, and it was a great clip, and it's just him. It's not the hosts aren't talking. And we just have so many great kind of insights that you can package up in that way and push it out in this modern era we're in on information flow.
Yeah, and we only buy like 5,000 hits from the bots, right? Like we don't really choose too much. We try to. I remember when we were like talking about what would if we did this podcast, what's the definition of success for the podcast?
And you said something like 100 downloads a month or something.
What? I mean, we were thinking about numbers, but I mean, maybe it was Blake, but it was just like, what if you just get 10 CEOs to listen to it? Would that be successful? Is it the 10 right people that you want to connect with, and not thousands or this or whatever? And so, so what, looking back after 500 episodes, what's the success? I think if I would redefine it I would just say community. Like we built a community and we built followers that trust us to put together meaningful things that they can use in their business, build their business. And I think that is, so have we succeeded? I think we have, based on what this platform has become for people to highlight people, highlight stories. But if you listen, you get something out of it. You can make a better business decision on it. I think that's successful for this podcast. And
I agree with that.
I think we've done that.
I do. I agree. And I think we've done it with kindness and empathy and like curiosity and levity. So we're not here to shock people. We're not here to get, some kind of, again, in this environment to shock people in any way. We're here to just curate conversations. Andy and I were hearing at cocktail parties leading up to this, like, how can we package this and then democratize it? So the upcoming designer or the customs classification specialists, mid-level in an organization, or the supply chain person can have access to these same conversations that we're having in a easily digestible way. And I think we've accomplished that.
I think we've covered nearly every single department or topic. Maybe not the janitor. Maybe we should focus a little bit about getting the janitorial service involved at a headquarters. But other than that, like, it's been everything. Like, it's every facet of footwear. We've kind of covered in different ways, and or have brought perspective of having conversations with different people in different departments about what's happening. And my hope is that it also ties in departments that aren't product driven, meaning like accounting and things like that. Like, I think sometimes, if you're just counting numbers and running payroll and stuff, like, I hope even those folks will listen to better understand and better plug into the industry. Cause I think, obviously it's like we product is king in our industry, right? We produce a physical product. And so I think a lot of times we do focus around, all the operation teams on the product side. But like, I think this podcast can equally bring in people who traditionally don't experience that or understand what, Tom is doing in his design studio. Right. And so hopefully we elevate that and bring that in and kind of strengthen communities within companies as much as we strengthen like the industry as a community as a whole. So
I think it shows the depth of the industry too, that we could put together 500 episodes showcasing all the different aspects, the things that go into making shoes. And we obviously have people saying, hey, we need 500 more. I mean, that was a consistent theme on all of these, in a lot of these videos. So I think it just shows our industry is very dynamic, very deep. lot goes into it that people don't realize. And so it's always interesting when those outside of the industry listen to this show and love it. I think that's great because they're learning something too. It's, they obviously probably care about shoes, but they don't know all that goes into it. So that's a really neat aspect of the podcast that's able to just share with everybody outside of the industry.
Yeah. I mean,
That's cool.
There's definitely like 500 different ways to run a footwear business. So that's one thing I've learned is just like, you think it's kind of linear and it's not. I mean, you can structure a business a million different ways, finance it differently, make a different product in a different place, sell it in a different way. Like it's interesting how people come up with kind of their own niche and their own kind of way of operating. And I think, hearing those perspectives, you pick things up that are interesting where you can plug in. I guess it following up on like the success of like, having 500, man, it's great to have 500. I judge our success based on, do we help people make better decisions and better understand the industry? And I think we do. And I think that, I guess my focus would be if we'd had another 500 episodes of doing the show, what would success look like then? And I don't think it would change. I just hope we would continue to do what we're doing in terms of being curious, being empathetic, having people on that have perspectives that may not always get heard. And so I think that's, if we keep doing what we're doing, the numbers speak for themselves, the growth that we've had, more and more people are attracted and listening. So,
I do want to do an Audible closeout segment. I'm going to pull an Audible. Instead of what you got, what you getting, similar but different. I want your favorite episode, and then who in the next 500 episodes, what would you get? Like, who would you go get to come on Shoe and Show? And so I'll start, so it gives you guys enough time to think about it. There's so many fun episodes. I did like when we were on the show floor at events in particular. Yeah. And I remember having like Cliff Sifford on, our former chairman and vice chairman of the board at Shoe Carnival. He was on a couple times, and we did an episode with him in person in Vegas, and we laughed so much during the episode. So I think that was one of my favorite. Wilson is clearly a highlight, but Cliff Sifford was one of my favorite. And who I'd love to get Elliot Hill, the CEO of Nike, who is doing some really great things in Beaverton and beyond. And so, Elliot, if you're listening, we'd love for you to come on Shoe and Show and break it up with us and talk about your vision for the swoosh moving forward. And so that would be my who we had and who we'd love to go get part of the segment. So, Thomas, you're next.
Man, I've already given you a couple of them. I mean, the 311 was kind of, I didn't record that one, but like listening to that, that's a pretty big name guest, and I think that's kind of a fun one to listen to. You have somebody that's a celebrity on the show. As far as who we're going to get, I want to add a couple more members of Congress because that are part of the sneaker caucus, because there's a movement in Congress to kind of bring this sneaker culture to the Hill, make things more casual, and show that, right now, it's pretty safe to say whenever you're listening to this, Congress is not popular. Things are not going well. You're not feeling good about things.
I think they know, Thomas.
Thanks for making it evergreen.
No matter when you're listening. But I will say, like, there's some positivity with that aspect of it. There's people that are trying to come together bipartisan ways over shoes. And that's a really unique thing. Not over, that's one of the things that's actually bringing people together on both sides of the aisle. A lot of younger members of Congress. And, we had Jared Moskowitz who shared his vision for that. But I think it'd be neat to bring in a couple other ones and just, what's your views on this issue, this caucus, and like, what do you want to accomplish? Things like that. So I think that would be an interesting thing to add.
Blake.
So I'll go a little different direction here. I think the neatest one that I saw you guys do, and I think that made the light bulb go off, was the White House one. Because it proved my theory. We started out doing this podcast, and I have my own stories of one we worked on, Paul and I. But it was, okay, it went from Andy's brainchild to now you're sitting in the White House with a high ranking, I think it was an ambassador, wasn't it?
Yeah, U.S. trade rep. Yep,
a high
cabinet
ranking
level.
Yeah, and he's in there thinking, wow, I'm on this. Not wow, but I'm going to go get some press, and you're thinking like, wow, how did we get here?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a neat experience, also to see it from your guys' perspectives of putting the ties on and having. Well, the other thing that was funny about that too is you said we have him from like 12:57 to 1:13, and he walked in at 12:57.
And then he was out. He was like, I'm done.
You're like, let's do what you got, what you get. And he's like, have fun, bye. And his whole entourage just like walked out, and the whoever the handler was with us, and we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
And then packed up and left. So with that in mind of what's possible, I don't know your industry the way you guys do. So I'm just going to say Phil Knight.
Phil Knight.
Let's
Let's
get him, Christy.
New dog.
Get on that.
All right, Christy, what about you?
Okay, I loved the leadership series that we did with Ortholite. This episode, my favorite episode, I think could have been a part of the leadership series, was the one we did with Ann Melman from Crocs.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a lot about branding and like the fan base of Crocs, and also getting Victoria Beckham to wear Crocs in that moment. So I really enjoyed that episode. And then we've talked, okay, who I would have on Shoein. We've talked about him so much recently, but I would love to get Michael Jordan on Shoein.
That would be phenomenal. That
right.
Be...
Phil and Michael Jordan together.
Yeah, hey, all of our Jordan friends, if you see MJ, put in a good word for us.
I'm changing mine to Jordan as well. I'd rather vote for Jordan.
Not Charles Barkley, you're an Auburn guy. Come on.
Oh, and Charles. I didn't realize. Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that was another one we could try to get.
Oh my God.
All right, Andy, close us out, man.
There's obviously like so many. I think of Todd from Reebok, his story about like starting off in the mailroom. I think of Danny from Johnson and Murphy, like his story about how he's a musician and then how he got into shoes.
Heavy metal, yep.
Like how meticulous he is about consumers and having worked at retail, and like his perspective about selling. Like Susie with Wolverine was great. I mean, like really thinking about like, you know, her the fact that she kept going back to college and building her, you know, educational background, and then like it's clear like in terms of strategy and how that gets formulated. So I think of that. I think I love the episodes where we were somewhere, like whether it was in Vegas. We did a show from the Material Show that I remember where we had like Hisham, Nicolene Van Inner, and Chris Hillier sitting around talking about innovation for
I remember that. Yeah,
40 minutes where we're just going around the table talking about all this new stuff that's changing. That was like a real breaking of bread, where it was just kind of turn on the mic and let's talk about what's happening, right? We did one at Brews and Shoes in Portland. Yeah, that was difficult, I think, for audio, but that was fun.
Didn't we do a live one too at like FTDC one time?
We did one at FTDC stage. Yep,
stage. That's right. So, like, I think all of those. You know, it's hard to nail down, but I also really enjoyed the conversations we had during COVID with different folks. I think of David Kahn.
Yeah.
About like radical acceptance of what's happening in the world and like what you can control kind of thing. So all those, I mean, I just enjoy sitting down with folks and like hearing their perspective on things. If I were going to get someone on the show, I would love, like, we're running a competition right now of people outside the industry who have ideas that they want to bring into the industry. I want to bring in more of those voices from our competition and more outside voices with perspective as to what the industry may be missing out on. Like there's areas of opportunity that we're not capturing. And I want to get more, like, I also think too, like we had a guy from Google recently come on, like I want future perspectives, I think a lot more. So I like the mix of where we can get industry folks talking about the industry. And I think, it's not one person, but I think thematically, I want to think about the future a lot more on the show and like bring in kind of thought leaders about technology and about other things that we can kind of look forward to and like help people kind of navigate towards the future. And I mean, look, in 500 more episodes, I think our industry is going to be fundamentally changed how it operates, where it sells shoes, what shoes may be made.
Yeah, another decade, right?
Right. So, and it's going to be like hyperdrive. And so I'm interested to see what's happening, but I think this show can like be a real conduit to help people kind of navigate that kind of, business is unusual kind of world that we're in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Well,
sweet.
500. Congrats, guys. It's been a hell of a journey taking this ride with all you guys. And that includes not just our team, but all the listeners too. Like we really appreciate people listening, and we do put a lot of effort in to try to have meaningful conversations, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Blake.
Yes, Blake, thank you, and Paula, and the whole team, the whole production team. But with that, new episode 501 drops Monday. Shoeandshow.com has all 500 and more loading up every day. So go back and listen, and we really appreciate it on behalf of our team to your team and the work that you do in the industry. We really appreciate it. Until next time, Shoe In is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.